Good morning everyone, welcome to our small footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a family of 8 who live off-grid in Australia. Today's video is a little out of the norm for me. I'm going to share what we got the kids for Christmas. So I got a few questions about what we were doing Christmas-wise for gifts and things like that. So I thought I would share that. Now, the biggest issue is that we live in a single space. We're in one 12 metre by 6 metre space that has all our bedrooms, living, sleeping arrangements in it. Our kitchen is out on the patio, but everything else is in that space. And therefore, with varying age children and things like that, there is no real free time for me to pull stuff out. So we have to do it late at night. So what I did was last night, after the kids went to bed, before I did, I pulled all the gifts out and just took photos of them on my bed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a bit of a chat through it. I'm going to put some photos up on the screen from either where I bought them from or that I took, to try and explain what I'm talking about. I can't do any of the nice fancy photos with the gifts laid out and things like that because it just isn't the facility to be able to do that here. It's bad enough having to wrap them because we have to do that once they're all asleep on Christmas Eve, which is fun. So what I did was I took some photos and I'm going to have a chat to you about it. Now, the way we do Christmas presents is we do a lot of group presents, so a lot of things that work for everyone to use, but we try and do some individual ones as well. I try and buy them what they want because that's what's always going to be the most exciting for them, I suppose. If you buy them what they want, then they're going to be the most excited by it. We also do some needs and reads and things like that. We don't have a set budget, we don't have a set schedule. It really depends on the year, but what I tend to do is, like, from July, August, I start to accumulate things that, like, when I go on my 6-weekly grocery shop, I might see something and I'll go, oh, one of the kids would really like this, but instead of just bringing it home to them, I accumulate it, I hold on to it, and I save it for Christmas. So sometimes it feels like there's a whole bunch of stuff at Christmas time, but I would have bought it for them anyway, but that's sort of exciting for them too. So we definitely try not to go overboard. We definitely try to buy things that are going to be wanted and enjoyed and that sort of thing. But at the same time, we try very hard not to go overboard. Last year, I did push bikes for all the kids. I did a push bike for every child. And I thought that it would be a fantastic gift. They enjoyed them, they all learnt to ride, and then they've barely been touched. So I have decided that, yes, I have to be aware that sometimes what I think is a really great gift isn't necessarily going to be something that they really want, which is fine. It still means that I'm going to take notice and still buy things that I think are worthwhile within the scope of what they want. But yeah, we have had a couple of experiences of things like that where I bought them all push bikes because I thought that they'd really enjoy the push bikes, and then they were excited by them, they did ride them, they all learnt to ride because some of the younger kids had never ridden bikes, but they really just aren't interested. They just sit there doing nothing, rusting in the driveway. So that's a bit sad. So what I did this year. So they have been talking about Walkie Talkies for months. So I bought them some Walkie Talkies, but I wanted to buy them ones that were decent. I went looking at all the different kids ones, at the ones on eBay and things like that, and I decided to go with a proper brand. I wanted them plug-inable, not battery operated. I wanted to be able to charge them, not have to change batteries. I am a little concerned about them being lost on the 20 acres, because the whole point is they want to go around through the bush with the Walkie Talkies, which is great. There's paths and stuff behind the house that Darryl has whippersnipped through, and there's plenty of spaces for them to go. I am a bit concerned about them getting lost, and I am thinking that maybe those little, the Bluetooth tiles or whatever that you can attach to them so that you can find them might be a good idea. So I'm going to have to look into that and hope that nothing gets lost in the meantime. But I decided to go with a decent brand. I got these from JB Hi-Fi. I think they were $85 for each set of 3, and I was a little bit frustrated because we looked everywhere when we went Christmas shopping, found these ones, decided on these ones, and I went to Costco afterwards and they had 4 packs for like $60. and I could have got like 8 of them, which meant that Darryl could have had one and we would have had a spare and things like that. But hindsight, and because I only come down every 6 weeks, I didn't want to have to then return the other ones and then worry about that sort of thing. And I didn't really have the spare cash to buy the other ones before returning them, and it all just, I just went, oh well, that's life. That's what happens sometimes when you find something and then you find it cheaper elsewhere. So that's what we started with. is those. Now the kids adore Nerf guns. I don't always buy them for them because I have to make sure that they pick up those foam bullets. Like, they can be issues for wildlife and for the garden and things like that, so they have to collect them up, and it's a little bit of a arduous task for me to chase them up about it. But we didn't do them last year, and so I decided to do it this year. So I bought all the kids a smaller one, Darryl a big giant one, and then a box of spare bullets, and once they're through it, they're through it. Once they're broken, they're broken. That's just the way things will go. If you can hear the fan in the background, you'll have to excuse it. I'm out underneath the solar array because that's where the shade is. If you've ever watched any of them before, I come out here all the time because there's shade and it's distance from the kids, especially for this video. And it's a hot day and the inverter is kicking in because we're running the transfer pump to transfer water from the IBC to the tanks. So it's going to kick in and out every now and again. But the mic's facing this direction, so hopefully it won't be too bad. Let me grab my notebook. So yes, we got the Nerf guns for everyone and for Darryl, because Darryl really enjoys doing that with them as well. We also bought some slackline kits. So these, I'll put a photo up of the box, but I'll find a photo online as well because it doesn't really show you what they are. But those who know what a slackline is. So I managed to get a 2-pack of these for about $220, which means that there should be enough for everyone to be playing at the same time. I was a bit concerned that a single pack wouldn't be enough for everyone to have a go at. So Darryl's going to have to find trees that are relevant for it out in the, preferably behind the house, near where the chicken pens and stuff are, because that's where we prefer them to play, is behind the house. We can still hear them, see them. It's a long distance from the highway. It's not near the driveway and all the rest of it, so that's where we prefer them to play. So Darryl will have to find some space for that, but I think that will be a really good outdoor activity. We did consider a trampoline, but Apollo has osteogenesis imperfecta, which is a brittle bone disease, and as a child he had 13 breaks between the age of 13 months and 7, I think it was, and he hasn't had a break since then, but trampolines were the cause of a couple, and they are quite bad, especially when you've got multiple children. So when you've got multiple children jumping on them, the person comes down as they come up, and this person's jumping down, they're hitting this trampoline as it's coming up, which can cause some really severe impact issues. So not necessarily with a child who has perfect health, but for a child who has brittle bone syndrome, it can be an issue. So whilst they really wanted a trampoline, I just wasn't comfortable with it, so we went for the Slacklines. We will get swings at some point as well to extend on the stuff that we've got, but I thought the Slacklines were a really good option for this. If you've watched much, you'll notice that the twins especially tend to wear some of my old sterling silver necklaces. They really like them. Orpheus is autistic, and I think he really enjoys the weight and the pressure of them. A couple of years ago I bought them all amber necklaces with stones relevant to the child, like colour wise or whatever for each child, and they wore them until they died, but they were quite expensive and they just weren't tough enough for our lifestyle. So this year I bought them all stainless steel chains. I would like to get them all a pendant each, something to match the favourite animal or personality or whatever of the child. I didn't get to that point, but we will do that eventually, maybe for birthdays throughout the year. But I bought them all a stainless steel necklace that they can choose to wear or not, but they all really enjoy necklaces, so I think that will be a hit. I got a couple of educational robot type car things. They were picked up on clearance, and I'm not real sure exactly. Some of this stuff it may end up coming out post Christmas, not actually Christmas Day. It might be Boxing Day activities or things like that, depending on how I wrap and sort stuff. There's also birthdays coming up. Sonnet's birthday is in February and Kavik's birthday is in January, so we have a couple of other things that are coming up before I come back from my next shopping trip, so some of these things might be saved for that, but a couple of educational type things like that I grabbed just in clearance when I saw them and thought that that the kids would really enjoy them. And again, they were probably things that I would have normally just pulled out once I got home, but I've held on to them and we'll see what we do with them. I bought a couple of puzzles and a puzzle mat. Sonnet is my biggest puzzle lover, but the boys really like puzzles as well. I got a new coffee table a new to me coffee table. It was free. A friend grabbed it for me. I'm very grateful for that, with some drawers. that goes in the kids area. So I bought them one of those roll-up puzzle mats and a couple of puzzles. So the idea is that they could put the puzzle mat out on that coffee table, do the puzzles in there, roll them up and get it out of the way. We'll see how that goes, but they all love puzzles. So again, that was another thing that I grabbed. We'll see how it gets gifted. There was a couple of extra bits and pieces for Sonnet. Sonnet's a little too easy to buy for, I think. A case with a whole lot of beads. She's really into making bracelets and everything for everyone. So a container with some beads, some etching art, and a panda. She has a real obsession with pandas, so a little panda craft kit. These are for her. Again, her birthday's in February, so if I need to hold some stuff back, I will do for that. Surreal's really into art at the moment, so I bought her a sketching kit with some erasers and things like that, and I happened to be walking through the Kmart checkout and there was a manga sketching book, and she's really into that style of drawing, so I grabbed that for her as well so that she could use that too. I grabbed 3 of these licensed t-shirts for the boys. I don't buy very much brand new clothing, but what I do buy is normally budget stuff, you know, $2 or $3 shirts from Kmart and Best and Less and that sort of thing. But I bought these 3 as a gift for Christmas, so they're 3 of their current obsession type licensed things, just to give them as a treat. So I bought those for them. I also bought the Beasts of Balance game. Now, we had this a few years back. The boys were quite a bit younger and pieces got broken, and we don't have it anymore. I saw it on sale on Amazon and thought that I'd grab it again because the kids really enjoy it. I'll have to show you how this works, but it is awesome. It has a pedestal, and you have an iPad or a screen, and then that you put on a stand and you link to the pedestal, and then you have these animals that you stack, and so you scan them on the pedestal and you stack them, and as you stack them they can evolve, and you can change the how they work, and you have to get as many stacked as possible, and by stacking different animals together you get different evolutions and things like that, and it all comes up on the screen. It's a very cool game. Has a screen, but the screen isn't the main aspect of the game. It just adds to it rather than it being the basis of it. It's very cool, so I will make sure to film them playing that when they pull that out. I also bought this slime kit. It was inexpensive at Kmart or Coles or what was somewhere that I was, and the kids all adore slime. So I will probably pull this out Christmas Eve. I probably won't save this for Christmas Day. It'll probably be a Christmas Eve activity, just for something special for them to do. I think it cost me $10. It was inexpensive, and it was just something that I knew that they would like. I also bought a generic branded style GoPro. Now, the kids have been using my backup cameras to do filming and stuff, and there's been some damage done to the cameras, but also they're very heavy, so it's a lot of work for them to walk them around and do things with. So the idea was that I thought if I bought them an inexpensive GoPro style with some attachments and things like that, that they could do their own little videos and all that sort of stuff with that. So we will see how it goes. I might end up using it in my kitchen too, maybe, because it has a nice wide angle, so maybe I can do some shots from in front of me, which would be really nice. But it was mainly aimed at Apollo and Sonnet, who really like to wander around and do these sort of video things, and it'll probably be gifted for Apollo to open because he doesn't have anything individual that I can think of, but all the kids are pretty used to knowing that things like that are to be shared to a degree. And then they just have their stockings. So I haven't put their names on the stockings yet. I have my silhouette out to cut the heat transfer vinyl to put their names on them, so I've got to do that in the next couple of days. And all it is just a lolly stocking, and then there's this ball thing that I saw that has fidget toys in it. Sonnet had asked me a while back for some fidget toys, and I hadn't bought them because just hadn't, and I happened to be walking through, and these egg things apparently have 4 random fidget toys in them, so I thought that would be kind of neat for stocking, something that we don't buy. And there's a couple of bags of other bits and pieces of lollies and stuff that we pulled out too. They also all have a Christmas pajamas or Christmas shirt or something that will be given on Christmas Eve, and I'll take some photos of them in that, which we do that every year because it's handy. So something Christmas themed for Christmas Eve, which is always nice, and they'll have the hot chocolates and all that sort of thing. So I did that as well. So that's everything. So I don't know how much it cost. I didn't really add it up. I don't really care. We could afford whatever I bought. We didn't have to, didn't have any issues getting what we got, and as I said, I got it over the last 6 months. So for 6 kids, that's what we ended up with, and I think that all of the stuff that I got is practical enough that it will have time on it. I think that's the big thing. We really like things for it to create time, for them to not just open something and pass it off, and then I want them to open things and then want to spend time with them, because that's what we're trying to sell, is we're trying to sell them things that they can enjoy over a span of time. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what we aim for, is that they enjoy time with these items over the next 12 months, longer preferably, but at least over the next 12 months until the next Christmas sort of thing. We want things to last for that sort of a time span. Somewhat educational if we can hook that in, but yeah, so that's what we did for Christmas. So hopefully that has helped anyone, though I'm awfully late at getting this out, which means that most people have already finished their Christmas shopping, but hopefully that gives some people some ideas about that. So this range of stuff was for the twins. The twins are 8, 9. Twins are 9. Kavik is 8 next month. Sonnet is 10 in February. Apollo is 12. 11. Man, I should have thought about this before I tried to tell you, shouldn't I? Apollo was born in 2011, so he's 11. That sounds really bad. And Surreal is 15. So we got 15, 11, 10, 8, 8, 7. That's the age of the kids that the gifts are bought for. Man, I may not use this little clip because that's a bit embarrassing, not being able to name the ages of your own children, isn't it? But anyway, so that's the age of the kids that I've purchased for. So hopefully you've enjoyed listening to me ramble about that. I've put the images up, showed the bits and pieces, and I will catch you on the next video. Thank you everyone for feedback about, not worrying about getting the videos out. The antibiotics have kicked in a little bit. I'm still in a bit of pain, but it's life. So thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye guys.